Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ryan Fair, or Ryan Likes Aliens. My real name is Ryan Fair, but my YouTube channel name is Ryan Likes Aliens. So I'm just drinking my tea. I'm gonna spray some air freshener. Well, today is Monday, so I guess my first girlfriend, Alicia, works today. Brian, that I posted a video of on his Facebook, that I did things with only on one day when I was young, is former military. My second girlfriend, Brooke Dirks, works as a nurse. My third girlfriend, Tanya, is dead. My fourth girlfriend, Nadia, denied my request. And she's on YouTube with her Nadia Pickett channel getting married to her husband during COVID. And then when I was 17, I fingered a girl named Sabrina that's on YouTube as the Low Rochelle Crew. And about 10 months ago, I had a girlfriend with black hair named Blurda Lucky as my girlfriend. That's on Instagram with her Blurda Lucky thing. But she wanted to date this guy, that raped my friend's baby mother. And my ex-friend, James Colvin, who was my first threesome. His baby mother, is a people coincidence person. Because her name is Jasmine Nicole Brunson, and her sister is named Brandy Brunson. And Jasmine and Brandy, are people coincidence girls, even though I have paranoid schizophrenia, that makes me, Wiccan is my religious belief. Also, my dad, George's girlfriend, is named Margie Rubichaux. And her sister is named Jeanette Edwards, and I can post the link from this video that I watched when I was 18 or 19. Where these two old ladies would call themselves Gigi and Jeanette, and then that became my dad, George's girlfriend's name and her sister's name. Even though I have, schizophrenia. And my second girlfriend is on YouTube with her Brooke Dirks channel. And then there's a girl that uses Instagram named Bailey Connor, and they're two different people, but they have similar looks, features, even though I have, paranoid schizophrenia. And also there's this rapper that's in jail, for gun charges named Damon Winning. And then there's a boy that went to my school named Dan Regley that has an Instagram account. And yet again, they're two different people, with similar looks, features, even though I have, paranoid schizophrenia, which makes me believe that I'm a child of Hecate and Zeus. Because even though I have paranoid schizophrenia, I encountered 9 people in my life on my personal Facebook that are real, and about 13 or 14 of them that I'm not friends with, even though I'm a paranoid schizophrenic person. And see, I didn't even believe that I had paranoid schizophrenia when they told me, because of these, I call them people coincidence people. But I just look at it as being Hecate and Zeus. I used to play with Ouija boards when I was young, but I feel Ouija boards aren't toys. And I have, this crystal ball in my room, and I put a Hecate symbol on it, Maiden, Mother, and Crone, with a pentagram. And I have, this Wicca for Beginners book that I'm reading, or that I'm going to start reading. But I was in, a witchcraft coven, called Bloodstar Coven, ran by a guy named Jeff McGaney. And Jeff McGaney, is a people coincidence person, even though I have, paranoid schizophrenia. But I don't talk to Jeff McGaney anymore. And he told me that he thought that my friend James, wasn't a true friend. And James's wife, who was my first threesome, sent me a mean message because she saw my psychotic blackout, in 2020 when my black friend died from the coronavirus, and I was sad. I find my life to be very difficult because I live with a dad that abuses me. And I have a stepdad that doesn't like gay people. And I have a mom that is Christian and a grandmother that is Catholic. And I'm Wiccan as my religious belief, and I say prayers to Hecate and Zeus. On my Sims 4, I have 619 followers as of now. I posted, I made a YouTube channel. I'm not going to say the name of the YouTube channel. But during my psychosis, I wrote down that on one day when I was young, I did things with a boy named Brian, who is my next door neighbor. I wrote down that I liked a mixed girl named Kelly. Jeffries, who goes by Kelly Roberts now, that knew how to play the violin when I was young. I wrote down that I had 5 girlfriends named Alicia, Brooke, Tanya, Nadia, and Sabrina in my alternative school. I wrote down that there was a boy that bullied me in my alternative school. I wrote down that my best friend was a boy named Victor in my alternative school. I wrote down that I liked a girl named Rachel in my alternative school. I wrote down that I did things with a boy named Kelly J. Caldwell only on one day. And I wrote down that I had one boyfriend from the time until I was 17 until I was 20 or 21. And then when I was 20 or 21, I did things with Kelly J. Caldwell on one day. So this boy named Brian that has a video on his Facebook, my ex-boyfriend that knew Jeffree Star, Chris Crocker, and Johnny Boy XO, and Kelly J. Caldwell that I did things with only on one day, and this boy named Nick that I did things with 10 months ago, are going to be the only 4 boys that I do things with during my lifetime. After that, I just prefer being with girls. And like I said 10 months ago, I was with my girlfriend, Lurda Lucky, that has an Instagram account, and she's a girl with black hair, that is heavy set, and she was my girlfriend. I had a girlfriend that would cheat on me, and she, favored, my second threesome in front of me. And my first threesome, she would say that my first threesome had abs and was more muscular than me, and things like that, which made me feel like shit. Even though I work out every day, I don't really have muscles per se, but I was in martial arts for a bit, and I made it to, like, I think a yellow belt when I tried to do martial arts, or almost a yellow belt. I was still on white belt, but I think I was going to get to the next level. When I was doing martial arts, I was practicing, with this man who was a crooked cop, and this guy who was my mom's friend. My whole family is evil. When I was like 6 or 7, or 7 or 8, I found a gay porno in my dad's room called Buddy Love, and it had gay people in it. So I believe that my dad, George, is bisexual. And my dad's girlfriend, looks like a man. And my dad is very evil and abusive to me. Every day. He verbally abuses me. Physically attacked me in 2020 and took me to the mental hospital with blood all over my face. And he just takes me to mental hospitals or crisis center against my will, because he knows that I'm a paranoid schizophrenic person. I got a headache right now. The last time I was in a crisis center was like 2 or 3 months ago. And the last time I was in a mental hospital was a year and a half ago. I have a friend named John, Powell on my Facebook, which is a people coincidence person with this boy named John Hawk that raped a girl on Stickham. My Twitter is on _cloud410. And my first threesome was with a boy named James Colvin, who was on YouTube with his James Colvin channel, that I don't talk to anymore. And then there's a boy, named Carl James Himes, that went to my alternative school. And Carl, who calls himself James Cornell on Facebook, is a people coincidence person. Even though I have, paranoid schizophrenia, which makes me Wiccan, is my religious belief. With witchcraft, the laws are to know, to will, to dare, and to keep silent. Be careful what you do, be careful who you trust, things like that, you know what I mean? I was initiated in a very rare, witchcraft coven ran by a guy named Jeff McGaney and his girlfriend Maria Jenkins. And there were other witchcraft people in the coven. My best friend at my alternative school was a boy named Victor Hill. But Victor replaced me with Carl or James Corona. There was a boy that I talked to named Dan Reichley. And my ex-girlfriend gave him a blowjob, in order to get to me. She sucked him off in a car so she could get to my house so she could have sex with me. My ex-girlfriend had bipolar disorder. And OCD, I think. But she couldn't qualify for disability like I could. When I had my psychosis, I got 33 subscribers on my channel. All my videos got like 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 or 7 dislikes on them at a time. Even though I wrote down that my disability pay was playing with my money. I wrote down that I had paranoid schizophrenia. And I wrote down that on one day when I was young, I did things with a boy named Brian, who was my next door neighbor. I wrote down that I had 5 girlfriends in my alternative school. I wrote down that people in my family are rapists, and I believe that my dad is bisexual. I wrote down that I only had one boyfriend, and that I did things with a boy named Kelly J. Caudill on one day, and a boy named Brian on one day, who was my next door neighbor. I wrote down that there's a boy named Brandon Drexler on my Facebook, who is my friend, and then a Brandon Jones. I wrote down that there are 9 people on my Facebook that are real, and about 13 or 14 of them that I'm not friends with. I wrote down that I was in an alternative school for my issues called the Furbish School, in Reisterstown and Shepherd Pratt, on Shepherd Pratt grounds and Reisterstown, and also in Glendon. And I wrote down that I went to another alternative school called the Arrow Center for Education, which is where I met my friends. I wrote down that I have one self-harm scar from where I cut myself, but I'm never going to do anything like that again. During my old Psychosis, I got 33 subscribers on my channel, and I posted this old woman's slander pages that made 2 slander pages about me when I was still a minor. And I saved this in my notepad. I got 33 subscribers on my channel, and every video had dislikes, and there was only one negative comment about my ex-boyfriend that remained on my YouTube, and nobody's re-uploaded any of my old videos. Because people don't care about this old woman that made 2 slander pages about me. And people don't care about my ex-boyfriend. Which is why nobody's re-uploaded my old videos anywhere. I've looked everywhere in the dark web for them, and people don't care about my ex-boyfriend, this guy named Gary, that wanted to have a threesome with me and my ex-boyfriend. Or things like that. People don't care about that. Which is why this slander page that has 400 page views wasn't updated after my Psychosis. And nobody's re-uploaded or talked about my Psychosis anywhere. On forums or anything like that. But my father told me I could have gotten a year in jail, and the woman on the phone told me I could have gotten a year in jail or probation over my Psychosis because I talked about my girlfriend who would cheat on me. And my dad talks to this old bitch that made 2 slander pages about me. And I made a YouTube channel about 10 months ago. Or 11 months ago, and I made a YouTube channel making fun of this old bitch that made 2 slander pages about me. And she had conversations with my father and told me to remove my channel or I would go to jail for a long time. Even though this woman made 2 slander pages about me when I was still 16 or 17. and this woman thinks she is psychic and things like that. Even though she has no powers.
Hello, Genesis Salute.
People on my Facebook that trip me out. But then even though I'm a paranoid schizophrenic. Just like the broken bat.
Get up out my lane, stop worrying about mine. Way ahead of the
say, I make my presence known so I will never be forgotten. For trying to fuck up. Yeah. Like anyone, happy to that ass so plain. Stop worrying about mine. Way ahead of the game while you other cats behind. Like a light in the dark, guaranteed I'm gonna shine. No matter what.
Crazy Beats Production. Happy Easter!
The last 2 months of 2021 was
Happy Easter!
I'm gonna make this video for RootBrian.
Let's
He made a Happy Easter video. Hi RootBrian, I've been watching you ever since I was like 18 or 19. My name is Ryan Fair.
Happy Easter!
So I'm gonna make this video for RootBrian. I've been watching RootBrian ever since I was 18 or 19. Alright, so hi, RootBrian. Hope you're good, RootBrian. Continue to make videos and don't let the haters get you down. Alright, well, this is going on 53 minutes. It is April 18th, 2022. And the time is 8:58 a.m. in the morning. So I'm gonna call this People Coincidence Chat Paranoid Schizophrenia Vlog and video for RootBrian, and the time is 8:59 a.m. and it is Monday, April 18th, 2022. So I hope everybody's good. Much love and peace from Ryan Fair. Or Ryan Likes Aliens.